Welcome to the Journey to Wholeness, a podcast by I See My Baby Incorporated. Here, we dive deep into powerful stories of those who have overcome life's greatest challenges, stories of resilience, healing, and renewed faith. I'm Alicia Hurt, your host, and each week we'll speak to individuals who have transformed struggles with infertility, battles with depression, and crisis of faith into profound growth and purpose. Hello. It's Alicia Hurt here. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of The Journey to Wholeness. I have a phenomenal guest today. She is sort of in my neck of the woods. I mean, we're still in Georgia. Soon she will be on a plane headed out, right? So I want to just turn it over to you. Please tell them about you. Tell them all the fun things that you have going. And then we can segue into your story, which is the reason that you're here, about your journey to wholeness.
Okay, well, my name is Cami Red. I am the author, the founder, the editor-in-chief of the Dear Black Woman brand. Now, in my day job, like I like to tell people, like that's not a day job. I am also a registered dietitian and nutritionist. So I also have a company called Cami Red Wellness. So I do quite a few things, but they all spun from my journey, my goal to thrive after trauma, and my wanting to teach other people how to live a healthy, whole, and holistic lifestyle all the time. So, in the process of doing that, not only do I host a podcast called Dear Black Woman, but I also host a podcast called The 10 Dimensions of Wellness, where we interview wellness facilitators and people who specialize in the different 10 dimensions of wellness from various parts of the country. But through Dear Black Woman, we are inspiring, educating, and informing Black women globally, where we have my book, Dear Black Woman, which also comes with a journal where you can go on a 50-day love letter fest to yourself, writing love letters to yourself while reading the 50 love letters that I wrote to Black women. Or you can indulge in our podcast where it's myself, Nicole, and Lauren. Lauren is in the UK, Nicole is in Paris, and I am here in the United States, where we talk about all things Black women globally. And we do the same thing on our newly developed platform with our magazine that is also distributed in those same 3 countries. It is also translated into 3 languages. And on our digital platform, you can translate into up to 6 languages because we want to reach Black women all over the world.
Come through. And you didn't even take a breath. So, with all that being said, giving her flowers now, tell us about your journey to wholeness, because I know that these are fruits of your labor.
Yeah. So we're gonna start from this year, and then we're going to talk about how we got to this year. So 6 months ago, I fled from Texas, leaving a relationship and journeying back home here to Atlanta, Georgia. I left my relationship with only my clothes. That's it. And I've built all of the things that I literally just talked to you guys about in the past 6 months, just by focusing on my healing and my health and being whole again in my life. Now, 6 months ago or a year ago, I was in a relationship that took a terrible turn, and we had been together for probably about 2 years, and it just took a turn for the worse for me, where it had me feeling like I was useless, I was of no value to anybody. These were the words and the type of things that my then partner was saying to me, and speaking over me, as opposed to speaking affirmations and words of kindness and words of help. But what I've learned through my therapy journey is that those type of things happen to me, and not just in this relationship but in other relationships, because of the trauma that I've faced throughout my entire life. Trauma from my childhood, trauma from medical procedures, trauma from being a cancer survivor, trauma from being an obese woman and trying to, maintain my quote unquote health or weight in a society that's telling me I'm not beautiful. Racial trauma, all of those different things were showing up in my life right at that moment. And, it took friends and family members and my therapist to, to really pull me out of it and tell me, hey, look, listen, you were doing certain things before you met this person. You were already a published author. You were teaching at colleges. You were doing those type of things before you got into this relationship. I don't think it was the person that brought that feeling to you. I think that's how you feel about yourself. And I had to dive into that, is that really how I feel about myself? Do I feel like I'm useless? Do I feel like I have no value? Do I feel like I'm of no benefit to anyone else? And I had to be honest with myself and say, yes, that is honestly, you see all of this stuff going on the outside, but on the inside, that's not how I feel about myself. I don't see myself the same way the world was seeing me. So it was so easily for my partner to mistreat me, because we teach other people how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves. So I had to learn that I had to take accountability for the last 2 to 3 years of my life, and me feeling like I was in a fight or flight mode, having to leave my home. I'd been in Texas for 5 years at this point. I had goals, I had dreams, I had things that I wanted to do and accomplish, that I had put myself at risk to doing so because of the things that I believed about myself. And my partner just perpetuated or, reflected what I was already believing. So I had to take accountability for the part that I played in it, for the trauma, for the abuse I inflicted on myself and allowed someone else to inflict on me. So that's a part of also acknowledging your trauma, acknowledging where it is that it comes from, what it is what it is and how it's affecting you, acknowledging that it happened, acknowledging who the culprits were, including yourself.
Right, right. So tell me about that turning point when you said, you know what, enough is enough. Let me grab my clothes and go.
It was an argument. And I'm going to just keep it all the way real. It wasn't me. It was my 25-year-old son. He had to move back home. And he called my father and he said, yo, you need to talk to my mom, because if you don't, I'm going to end up hurting someone. And it was because I wasn't seeing what my partner was doing to me and how it was affecting people around me.
Right.
And it was that turning point. It was the point where my child was seeing what was going on with me. And he wasn't able to really, he couldn't stomach it. And he didn't know me in that space. Or he'd seen me grow out of that space, because there had been other terrible relationships as well. But as you grow and as you learn, you start to really say, this is not what I want in my relationship. But what I thought I was doing was finding a safe space. And in reality, what I was doing was teaching someone how to treat me like other relationships had treated me.
Mm. Mm. So it takes courage to do that. Even though you see how your son is, he's being he verbalized how he feels, he's telling other family members. How did you say it is time? Like, what in you gave you just the power to just say, I'm out of here?
I was tired of complaining to people around me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I was tired of complaining to people around me.
Yeah.
I had become a shell of myself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I didn't like to do the things that I love to do. I
Yeah.
didn't want to cook anymore. And I have a degree in culinary science. I've been a chef for over 20 years. And it had driven me to the point where I didn't even want to be in the kitchen anymore. I didn't want to do any of that kind of stuff. So that was the turning point. And me saying, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? I was thriving before this. And now I'm stuck in a situation where I'm depending on someone who clearly set this up for me to have to depend on them and
Yeah.
become, this type of situation that I've never found myself in. It was me coming back home and crying and realizing that, oh my God, I'm almost 45 years old and I have to move back in with my parents.
Right. Right.
And I hadn't lived with my parents since I was 18 years old.
Yeah. Now you said early on that you seeked out therapy, and I am like the champion for, and I rally around Jesus in therapy, right? Jesus in therapy.
Both of them
But
together, boo. Both of them together. Okay.
but you said something that was profound. You said that they challenged you because you were looking for that love in an individual, but all along that love is what you already had for yourself. Talk
Yeah.
about it.
So what I like to tell people is I don't lack love for myself. I don't. I've never lacked love for myself. What I do lack is finding value in myself and seeing my worth in. And the crazy part is everybody around me sees the value in me and everybody around me sees my worth. You just met me and you can tell the people all of the things that I am doing and that I'm working on, and you see how I manifest it and I make it happen, and it's just like do, we're gonna do this and then we're gonna do that, and it just comes. But I don't
Right.
see that.
Right.
I don't see that. My therapist made me Google myself. Do you
Wow.
understand me?
Wow. Yeah.
She made me Google myself and she told me to take myself out of it and write a report on me as if I was a third person, as if I was somebody else who had to research me and write about everything that I had done.
Wow.
That changed my perspective on myself because Google went as far back as 2004.
Wow.
And this is 2024. So the first 15 pages of Google, when you put my name in, is me. It's things that I've done, it's things, interviews that I've done, it's different projects that I've worked on. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, okay, now I'm starting to understand who I am. I'm starting to see my power clearly. I'm starting
Right.
to understand the dynamic of what it is that I have already accomplished in this
Yeah.
short 45 years of life. Now,
Yeah.
what I'm starting to realize is what I've accomplished in spite of certain things. So I get to look at these things and say, oh, wow, in 2004, I did this, but this is where I was. Like,
Right.
I talk to people about how I was living in a homeless shelter with my son at the age of 13 and wrote my first book.
Wow.
So those are like, I don't see the accomplishments. I see where real life had me.
Right.
So I
Right.
feel like, to me, where real life had me and where I wanted to be and where I want to be in my mind. Now, bear in mind, I'm telling you, in my mind, not in reality, those things didn't add up. But in
Right.
reality, it did, meaning that
Yeah.
everybody on the outside could see it, but I couldn't see it.
Yeah. And why do you think that is? Because as you're talking, it's resonating with me. People would say things. I'm like, for real? Like, do you don't know the impact? I'm like, I really, and I'm oblivious. But it's like, why? Why is that?
It's because of the trauma we face. It's because of not, and I hate to say this, and I love our community and I love our people, but you ever heard the saying, we raise our daughters, but we spoil our sons? Um,
Yes.
I think we as Black women have been told to not pay attention to our own value, not pay attention to
Mm,
our own worth. It's tied up in what we do for a living, what we do for our community, who we're married to. That is what we've been taught. And what I mean by that is not just by our parents. This is generations of living. Goes all the way back to colonization. This is what we were told we had to be. Yes, they threw us out there as the strong Black woman, but they also taught us not to care about ourselves.
right,
So that title, strong Black woman, that's not necessarily a positive title,
right,
because what it's
right.
saying is, it's saying I am I am going to take on everything, and I'm just going to carry this load no matter what this load does to me.
Yes. Yes. I literally just had a conversation with my sibling and I had to apologize because my sibling started to cry and say, "Nope, I got to be strong. You taught me to be strong. Mommy and daddy taught me to be strong." And I said, "I am sorry." And my sibling looked at me. I said, "I'm sorry because I am actually understanding now what that means. And it doesn't mean what I told you as an older sibling. Those tears are strength.
Yeah,
Cry."
you need to cry. Your tears are valid. Your feelings matter. All of
Yep.
that. I see you. I
Yep.
understand you. We may not agree upon the same things, but I see the beauty in you.
Yes. Yes. And it takes strength to show vulnerability. It takes strength to purge, to cleanse, to ask for help, right? To say, "I don't know. I'm stuck right now." Like that's
Yeah.
strength. But
Yeah.
yeah, 20, 18, 19, 20, 25, 30. Oh yeah, no, you gotta be strong. You gotta put on a face, especially living in the hood. You gotta be, you gotta be hard. You got
But
no, that's not what it is.
that's not what I'm telling you. It resurfaces in 40. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what I firmly believe. I believe that all of those years of trauma, when we reach, and this is in women, I'm just gonna keep it all the way 100. I know men have their own thing, but when we reach premenopause and them hormones start raging and shooting off the roof and doing all this right here, I think it bring up all of that stuff that we tried to subdue and be the
Yeah.
strong woman. Because what happens is you start to try to figure out why you feel this way, why you're depressed, why you're anxious, why you this, why you that. And here's the crazy part. If you don't seek therapy, it's going to drive you crazy. And the reason I
Mhm.
say that is because that's also the time when you see a lot of successful Black women start to kill themselves. And that's the
Mhm.
suicide rate spike that we see. It's because when you reach that, and I'm telling you, I think it's got a lot to do with menopause. And I haven't done the research on it, so don't quote
Yeah.
me on it. But
Yeah.
it's funny that it all happens around that time when
Yeah.
it's like you go into this mode of, oh my God, I'm so depressed. Oh my God, this is going on. This is going on. I'm not where I want to be. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And you're constantly in your head that way all the time. And
Yeah.
even when like you say, okay, well, I'm gonna go to church and I'm gonna rely heavily on God, but you still in your head. Like I like to tell people, fear and faith can't exist in the same body. Okay.
Right.
Now, if you're gonna give it to God, you got to give it to him and have faith
That's
that he gonna take care of it. All right. You
yeah.
can't give it to him and then lay up at night and worry about whether or not it's gonna get taken care of or not. You
That's right.
cannot do that. I walk
That's right.
by faith, not by sight. And I promise you, I live that. The reason, and you look around, look at everything that, hey, I thought I was coming back home to be a chef and a nutritionist, but God had a totally different plan for me. And I am
Yeah.
at that point in my life where I walk by faith. I can only trust in him. I can't go
Yeah.
based on my fears. My fears lead me into places that I don't need to be.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You ain't never lied. That's right. So what I heard from you is we talked about the therapy. Then you started preaching, Mother Red. You did. You start like, damn it, he was just gone, right? And so I hear faith. I hear faith there. What other tools would you recommend for our women out there?
So I'm going to tell you this. we as Black women have to start doing something. We got to forgive each other and we got to forgive ourselves, okay?
Mhm.
Because the first thing we need to do is acknowledge the trauma that we've caused each other and the trauma that
Yeah.
we've caused ourselves, okay? The second thing
Yeah.
we need to do is we need to build a tribe of people around us that are going to help us, protect us, keep us poured into, and keep us moving and motivating and going forward in our lives, all right?
Yeah.
Like, start journaling, start meeting people, start getting out here, start, because human beings are not meant to live life alone. Okay.
Right.
It's just something that we're not meant to do. Get your spiritual life in order.
Yeah.
I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you're atheist at this point. Get your spiritual life in order. What I mean by that is not having a God may be your thing, but utilize nature as your thing, because whether you believe that God created it or not is a beautiful thing, and I
Mhm.
wholeheartedly believe God created it so that we could exist and understand his presence in our lives.
Mhm.
But if that's not your thing, get with nature. Go sit down, journal with nature, be a part of nature, get out there in the grass, roll around in the grass, connect, get that energy from the earth, from what God has created for us. Bask in the sunshine. I know it's cold outside, but sometimes just sitting in the sun, in that the ray of the sun will bring you warmth in so many ways that you cannot imagine.
Yeah. So, for those that say that sounds great, but where do I start? I'm so overwhelmed. I have all these notes. Where do I start today?
You start with setting up discipline and setting it up in your phone. So, as a nutritionist, one of the things I do is I tell my clients to put on their phone an appointment to eat. You put an appointment for everything that you're going to do in life. If it's just to take 10 minutes to breathe, build that into your calendar so that it becomes a discipline. You practice it for 30 days straight. 10
Yeah.
minutes every day at a certain time to breathe. Put it on your phone. Do not snooze it. Get out there and do it. And do
Right.
it for 30 days. And it just becomes a part of the practices that you do. Put in there, I eat lunch at 12 o'clock. Pull away from your computer screen at 12 o'clock. Go outside, go into your kitchen, sit down at your kitchen table and eat lunch.
Right. Right.
Put in
Yeah.
there that you're going to drink water at this time. You're going to drink a certain amount of water. Put it on your calendar. Put it on
Right.
your phone. Build it into your life so that it becomes a practice, a habit, something that you do on a regular basis. Eat
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Stop feeding yourself. That's emotional eating, feeding yourself out of sweet and salty food all the time. Eat like
Yeah.
an adult. So if you're going to be an adult, let's be an adult all the way around.
That's right. You are so right about the calendar, because I tell people if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. Like my sibling, I said, "You want me to reach out to you every week?" Like, oh, that sounds. Guess what? It's not going to happen. So I
Yeah.
love that tool and practice. So how about the people that don't understand or don't know how to build community?
Let me say this to you. Social media has stunted us in certain ways, but it is given those of us who know how to network and get out here the opportunity to grow in a lot of ways. If it weren't for social media, I would have never met you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can be online lurking and looking and doing all of that, start joining groups that align with what you believe in.
Yeah.
Post in those groups, build community. Get to the point that you go to the point like what I'm doing with this Dear Black Woman anthology, where you want to meet all of these women that you have embarked upon and say, okay, I'm gonna pick this one place and I want all of y'all to, let's all meet up here so we can
Yeah.
all hang out, do virtual events. Get online, meet people that way, attend other people's virtual events. If you need spiritual alignment, start attending church events that are happening online. If you want to meet people that crochet, join crochet clubs that you can sit online and y'all can crochet together. Grow, be
Yeah.
get beyond your comfort level. And I know that's hard. I got social anxiety. A lot of people don't know that. And that's a real diagnosis, not something that I just calm myself and say. No, like I have social anxiety. It takes me a lot of time to work my way up to doing certain things. You would have never guessed that.
At all. At all. Because it's so smooth, it's so easy. See? Y'all see, y'all hear transparency so you can deal with and overcome whatever you put your mind to.
Yeah, like those things that we look at and see them as negatives or see them as mental illnesses, you got to look at how you can turn that into your superpower.
Yeah.
How can that become your superpower instead of this negative effect that you have on your life?
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But so my thing was it's so transparent. Oh, Lord. So for many, many years, I never wore pants because I was teased about my little skinny little ankles. So when you meet me, you be like, oh yeah, them ankles skinny. But I had to overcome it. I was like, you know what? They're gonna talk. Because I love like colorful stuff. I love wearing dresses and skirts. And because being teased, high school years, I stopped wearing it. And so when you talk about your superpower, now I'm like, yep, you're going to look at me anyway. So I'm going to
Yeah,
have these little ankles out. I'm going to have your attention and we're going to go to work. So my
yeah, like
superpower is my ankles.
yeah, turn that into your superpower. You got to
Yes,
take those insecurities. And one of the things I like to tell people is every time you tell yourself one negative thought, you need to combat that with 3 positive things. So if
yeah,
you tell yourself, I'm not worthy, then you need to tell yourself, yes, I am worthy of this. I am worthy of
that's
love.
right.
I am worthy of care. I am worthy of being seen. I am worthy of all of that.
That's
So
right.
whatever you tell yourself, you listen to it the most.
Yes, yes. So let me ask you this. People may say, okay, you all have all together, you guys have gotten to your wholeness, but there are days when you feel like day one again. Please talk to the people and let them know. That's
First
it.
of all, let me just keep it all the way 100. I ain't got it all together,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
I don't. I'm working on that. And
yeah.
that is a journey. It is never all together, okay? Ain't nobody perfect. There's no perfect life, no perfect circumstance. There's no perfection. That is a fear-based mentality and mindset that keeps you from doing the things that you need to do. I don't
That's
have it all together. I'm never going to have it all together. I wake up every day and it is a fight for me to get out of bed and get to do what it is that I need to do for myself. Now, what I do have are motivators. What I do have are things that I utilize to make my day go better. Some of the same things I just talked about programming into your phone. I program 10 minutes before and after everything I do to literally close my eyes and take a deep breath and breathe, because
yeah.
it is hard for me sometimes to get on podcasts. It's hard for me to host events. It's hard for me to do those things. But guess what? God laid it in my heart. He laid it in my spirit. He told me I had to do it. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use all those coping mechanisms that my therapist and they have on YouTube and say that you need to do. And then I'm going to do what it
That's
is
right.
God told me to do. And when I'm done, I'm going to close my eyes for 10 minutes and I'm going to breathe and say, whew, I made it through and I'm okay.
That's right. Amen. I made it through and I'm okay. Come on, y'all. I made it through and I'm okay. And I love that practice, the breathing, because it's like, all right, let me breathe to get up, muster up the energy. All right. And then let me breathe because I done did it. Let me bring it on down. That's
Mhm.
awesome. So give us some more tips and tools. Like I have my pen and paper and like really pull up to this camera.
But no, like I'm gonna be honest with you. Dear Black Woman, the book was a therapy assignment. It was an assignment that my therapist, along with doing research on myself and writing a report about myself, I had to write love letters to myself. And my therapist read my love letters and she was like, girl, first of all, I forgot you was an author. She said, because all you talk about is food all the time. So I forget that you have the gift of writing. I said, yep, the gift of writing and the gift of gab, which for some reason I'm afraid to do.
Right.
So that's why I said, even the things that you are afraid to do may actually be gifts in your life. So she read them and she showed them to one of her colleagues. And he came back and he was like, I want to show this to one of my clients. And she said, no, you can't do that. She came to me and she said, you need to turn this into a book. you need to publish this. And I was like, no, I'm not going to publish this. I'm not going to put my personal thoughts out there. And then I thought about it. I said, I don't have to make it personal. I can make it general. And then
Right.
she said, that'd be perfect. And she said, I think this is something that a lot of Black women need to hear. So
Right.
I made it very general, meaning that I took myself out of it and utilized it for a space for Black women who are just like me. What it is
Yeah.
I think we needed to hear. And then as I started to present the book to people, and I recorded it for Audible, so you can go on Audible and get the book as well. And I myself recorded it. I did not pay anybody to do it. I recorded it because I felt like you needed to hear the love. You needed to hear
Yeah.
the passion. You needed to hear the guilt, the voice behind these
Yeah.
letters. And you needed to hear from somebody that sounded like you and looked like you.
Right. Right. I agree. So
Yeah.
tell me, as we are like wrapping up, if the woman listening to this has not heard anything else, has not resonated with anything else that you said, what would be that one thing that you would say to her today to challenge her?
That you need to look inside yourself to figure out how you need to thrive after your trauma, because the ultimate goal is being healthy, healed, and whole. And you're not going to find what you're looking for in other people. You're going to find that in yourself, in your relationship with self, in your relationship with God, in your relationship with money, in your relationship with food. It all starts from you.
That's deep. It all starts with me.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with me. So
Yeah,
I'm
like
sure there are many women out there that need your support. They want to hear more from you. They want to get your book, your resources. How can they reach out to you?
dearblackwoman.me. Just that's it. Dearblackwoman.me. You can find me on, that's my website. That's one of my websites, but that's the one I want you to go to. Okay. Now, this is our digital platform. First of all of my books on there, all of our t-shirts, everything that you hear. I have cards on there for Black women that, like I'll be sending them out to a few of you all. I got some that say you are loved, you are seen, you are special, because I think every Black woman needs to hear that. There are also articles on there. Because we are a global magazine, you can read about everything from all over the world. There are also articles on there that are in French. Now you can go on there and translate and, read about all kinds of things, because again, we are for Black women everywhere. But what I really want you to do is just think about how you can thrive after trauma, where you want to be in life right now. And I want you to start in that place. I want you to get the book. I want you to work with yourself. I want you to write love letters to yourself. I want you to be that beautiful, dear Black woman that we all desire to be.
Y'all heard it. Shell on. Ain't that how they say it? Shell on. Well, thank you so much for your time. Again, I will place all of your links below this video, or if you're listening with Spotify, I'll place it there as well. I want to thank you. I know this is the first time you've been on my platform, but I don't want it to be the last, because you have so much wisdom. I just need you back.
Whenever, you look, watch this. You can call me anytime.
That's
Just,
it.
you can call me anytime. I'll be ready. Just send me the link and say, I need you on at this time, and this is what we're going to talk about. I'll be prepared, okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, and I will see you soon. You have a great rest of your day. Thank you for
You
having me.
too.
I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.